controversy. In the mid-1970s, LGBT participation in New York City politics really began. In 1977, the mayor of New York City, in 1977, mayor of New York City elections, Ed Koch was the preferred candidate. There had been speculation that lifelong bachelor Ed Koch was secretly a homosexual, and he had no children. However, he rebuffed the speculation about his sexuality and refused to publicly discuss any of his romantic relationships. However, and this is where really the heat comes on, and I do remember this very much. This was really very controversial. He refused to acknowledge the presence of AIDS or HIV. He refused to acknowledge what was happening in his own city to the gay population and to the heterosexual population. He refused to designate any funds. He refused to say those words publicly, and did not pass the LGBT Civil Rights Bill. However, he won in 1977. He won his re-election with 75% of the vote, and it was just pretty surprising. And what's so ironic is that there's always been rumors about his own sexuality. And it was very, very hurtful to that culture. I think Ed Koch is the person most responsible for allowing AIDS to get out of control. It happened here first on his watch. If he had done what any moral human being should have done in the beginning and put out alarms, then a lot fewer people would have gotten sick. And it's just interesting. I added that not to stir up any politics, but just to kind of give you of what's going on. Like I said, I remember it well. Here's Keith Haring, who did wind up contracting HIV, eventually died of AIDS at the age of 31. Here he is with that same sign. His style is highly recognizable. It consists of simple figures and rhythmic lines. The colors are bold and catchy. Even after achieving international fame, he continued to draw sketches for anyone who asked, and there were many. Though many often warned him that the habit would depreciate the value of his paintings, he was more concerned with spreading the joy and meaning of his art than the money. Over the brief span of his career, the artist completed more than 50 public works, including the anti-drug mural Crack is Whack in the Harlem Playground and an illuminated animated billboard of his radiant baby image in New York Times Square. He also hosted numerous art workshops for children. Keith was diagnosed with AIDS in 1988, which led him to establish the Keith Haring Foundation in 1989 and provide funding, imagery, and inspiration to organizations that fund AIDS research and children's programs. Keith worked up until the month of his death, showcasing his drawings to the public and speaking openly about his illness to help bring activism and awareness to AIDS. A young artist who died sadly at the age of 31, Keith participated in over 100 exhibitions throughout his career. I think that's pretty incredible. I found this to be very odd, and I'm wondering what you think about it. So there's been several paranormal experiences circumstances linked to Keith Haring's death. He was cremated, and Yoko Ono is said to have received his ashes, specifically the toe bone. And this is a quote from Yoko Ono. "You know, I have a psychic side, so ghosts and spirits whisper to me. At the Hill, they were giving out parts of the bones to people, and I received the toe bone. I put it in my pocket and thought, what am I going to do with it? And suddenly Keith whispered, 'Keep it, hold it. I'll tell you what to do.' So I said, okay. Then I went home, and Keith also said to me that he would like me to take it to Paris. So I did, and I put it in an obelisk." That's the quote. So I don't know what you want to take from that. It's kind of kooky, especially because I thought when you got cremated, I know when my grandmother did and we spread her ashes, you didn't really know what bone, it was kind of ashes, but maybe things were different in the 1980s. I'm coming to full circle now, and I want to show you. I know I've been bouncing, but it's, believe me, these slides were, you know, very thought out. This is a current day wall, and this is a modern graffiti artist. I'm wondering if anybody knows who it is.
Banksy.
Yeah, that's right, Banksy. And Banksy, nobody really knows his true identity. There is a movie that is actually pretty funny. It's called Exit Through the Gift Shop. And Banksy was being stalked by someone who wanted to do a documentary